Guys, what is going on? It is your favorite Northern Virginia realtor, Chris Colgan here. Definitely subscribe to my channel and like and comment as always. And if you have any real estate related questions about Northern Virginia or DC, shoot me an email or text me at the number below. Please, I have a family to feed as well as myself, but let's get into this crazy real estate market here in Northern Virginia and DC. And I really want to talk about some misconceptions about the market that I'm hearing a lot from buyers and sellers. So let's get right into the video. All right, guys, so let's start right into the video about the misconceptions of what's going on and why the interest rates got so high that instantly slowed down the market. Now, one thing I want you guys to realize, about a year ago, the rates were around 3.5% to 4%, and they actually had already started to creep up, and they've gotten as high as 7.5%. Well, why is that? There was a lot of inflation going on. As you know, unless you live under a rock, things got really expensive, which is not good, and inflation starts wars. So the federal government had to act by raising key interest rates, like what you see on treasury bonds or how the banks lend money and all that, and that has an effect on interest rates. And when you go from a 3.5% all the way up to a 7.5%, that affects borrowing a whole lot for a home buyer, especially on these rising housing prices we have seen here in Northern Virginia. But one thing that has confused a lot of people is what happened in 2008 was there was a lot of inventory on the market, which we do not have at this time. Why? Because if you're a seller and you have a 2.5% or a 3% interest rate, you are not going to just sell your house and get out of that rate. You're either going to keep it as an investment property, or you're only going to move what you unless you have to. And so that's why we're also seeing this low inventory. But the other thing is why the government kept doing what they were doing was they were really trying to slow down the job market, because small businesses have had to pay a lot of money, like restaurants and everything, to get people to work, which has caused inflation. So you saw the Dow constantly go down every time the job report came out, and it was confusing, because they would say the economy added 300,000 jobs. Yeah, that's a great thing. It actually was not a good thing. The government wanted the job market to slow down, and then you would see the key inflation numbers start to come out, and inflation got higher and higher. Well, the last 2 months, as the market has been very slow, one thing people didn't realize was the inflation actually started to stop going up as much as it was. And what happened? The Dow started going back up. Wall Street was getting more happier. And the interest rates for a mortgage went from 7.5 back down to around like 6.25, 6.5. And what has happened is the last 2 weeks, the real estate market honestly has been popping off again. So they expect the Fed to do a little bit more raising just to calm inflation down anymore. But what they are doing is working, but we're definitely going to see some pain. So I want to talk about the numbers from October for our area specifically, and kind of what I'm seeing and what you can do if you're thinking about buying or selling a house. All right, so let's talk about our local market. I want to go into some numbers here and tell you, because things don't look that great, but there's also some silver lining in there. So I want to talk about Alexandria, which is always kind of an odd marketplace. So in Alexandria, new listings are down 38%. So a lot of people are not listing their houses, but new pendings, meaning houses going under contract, are down 44%, and closed sales are down 34%. So what does that mean? High condo market, but sales are down about 50%. Now, the weird thing in Alexandria, the prices are actually up 13% year over year, but I expect to see that be flat for the next 2 or 3 years, most likely. So if you are a buyer and you're looking in Alexandria, you can probably get a good deal. If you are a seller and you want to sell, I probably would start thinking about selling. I don't foresee a huge crash or anything like that. But that is really what's going on in Alexandria. When you look over to Arlington, which is one of the stronger markets in the country. I just gotten back from a real estate event in Washington State, and everyone would ask me about Arlington. They're like, we hear a lot about Arlington. A lot of people are moving to Arlington. So that means a lot of people are moving to Northern Virginia from Seattle because of all these tech jobs. So new listings are down 40% in Arlington. So right there, almost half the inventory is gone. New pendings, though, are down 35% year over year, and closed sales are down 33%. But the weird thing about Arlington is the average price went down 3% over the last couple months. So prices came down from their peak, and who you really are seeing hurt with that more than the average consumer has been new home builders. Why? Because they typically have a huge premium on the houses they are selling. So let's get into some other parts of Northern Virginia. All right, so one area I like to really talk about where the legend himself lives, Chris Colgan, no, not Bobby, the video guy with this crazy setup that makes me look like I'm on CNN or Fox News or something. But anyways, new listings out here in Prince William County. Prince William is still a pretty hot market because we don't really have the high crazy prices that you would see in like Loudoun or Fairfax, but new listings are down 30%. New pendings are down 46%, and closed sales are down 35%, with the average sales price though up 6%. The median sales price is $480,000. When I was seeing some sales out here in Haymarket and Gainesboro around $650 to $700 seemed to be the average. But around June, that was when they peaked, and things have really came down a little bit here. So Prince William is still pretty strong. I would say it's about an even, but again, you're looking to kind of still be a flat market. When you get over into Loudoun, new listings are down 28%. Well, there's a lot of new construction in Loudoun, and I've seen a lot of builders really trying to offload some properties over there as well. New pendings are down 47% in Loudoun, and then closed sales are down 36%. And then the medium sold price in Loudoun, $650,000. So the average sales price or medium sold price there is still huge. One area though I'd like to look at as well, besides, before I get into Fairfax, is Fauquier County, because that's called the outlying. Let's talk about Fairfax. They had 1,680 houses list, and so they're actually down from year over year, 33% new listings. New pendings down 47%, closed sales down 38%, but the average sales price is up 3% year over year. So Fairfax is still strong. And I say this all the time, 3%, 3 to 5% is your average year, and the housing market of what prices should be, or sometimes they can be flat. And remember, the average net worth of a homeowner is $250,000. Bobby, do you know the average net worth of a renter? He's shaking his head. He has no idea. You can't see him. $5,000. So if you're thinking about buying, right, the average net worth, if you're looking to build your wealth, which I would assume you are if you're watching someone as smart as me, kidding right there. The average wealth of a renter is around $5,000 to $10,000. The average wealth of a homeowner, $250,000 in America. So even though the market may be slower, why would you not think about purchasing a home? I'm going to get into how you can do that and still save some money on that rate. Let's talk about Fauquier County. New listings are down 17%, pendings down 44%, closed sales down 34%, and then prices there down 5%. Very weird market in Fauquier. You can get a condo for $300,000 to a horse property for $30 million. So their numbers get a little bit skewed, but they're kind of further out there, and that will be a little bit more different than what you're going to see in Arlington or Fairfax. So right now, are the numbers great? No, they're not. The last 2 months were some of the slowest 2 months I had seen in my career, but like I said, the last 2 weeks, the market has shown some life. I was talking to my good buddy Ken Pozek in Orlando, who has a very popular YouTube channel, and he was telling me that the last 2 weeks in Orlando, his leads went through the roof as well, where people were calling, like they call me who watch my YouTube channel, which I hope you will as well. And he told me that the amount of people calling that were moving into Florida went way up these last 2 weeks. So he's seeing the same thing. So let's talk about what you can do if you're thinking about buying or selling to get your best strategy. All right, so if you're thinking about buying, I've done 2 of these recently. There's a thing called a 2-1 buy down program. So here's how it works. Let's say the interest rate right now is 6.5%. You can ask the seller to pay a fee, typically around $15,000. Most sellers will do it right now. Like I said, I've had 2 sellers just do it for my buyers. So year one, your interest rate will be 4.5%. Year two, it'll go up to 5.5%. And then year three, it goes into that 6.5%, which you initially locked in, with the hope that the rates will go back down by year three. But if they don't, you're just locked into that 6.5. And you know what? You can always refinance later. They always say marry the house, not the mortgage. I've lived in my place for 12 years. I've probably refinanced 2 or 3 times. So when I bought my place, my rate was 6.5% or 7%, and now it's at 3%. So again, marry the house, not the mortgage. If you're thinking about selling, I have a great new program. I just got a new listing where the house needed a lot of work. And honestly, they did not have the money, which most people don't, to put into the house. So I found this new company that they went in and they're fixing up the house. They have all the contractors, the staff, materials, and then the seller pays them after the house closes. So their house will go on the market. They're gonna get a lot more money for the house, and they don't have to invest any money up front. They just pay this company after the house sells. So if you want to do something like that, definitely let me know and I can arrange that for you. And I've went out and helped them design what they're going to be doing to the house to get it fixed up. And all the prices were reasonable, from what I expected. So if you are looking to sell, that's something that I think we should talk about. We can sit down and I can go through that program with you if you are interested. And we can get your house completely show ready. But as always, thanks for watching my videos. Definitely text me if you're thinking about buying or selling a house. I get texts every day from YouTube viewers that I love to get and talk to real estate. So as always, I'll see you at the top or from the top.